Have you ever heard a voice when nobody was around? Especially a commanding voice or a warning voice? Or maybe a voice that's speaking just directly to you, but there's nobody there? I remember the first time I had this happen. It was when I was in 6th grade. It was the summer. School was out, and I lived on a farm then. It was a small farm, 60 acres, just on the edge of Lansing, Michigan. And I was going to walk out to the old oak tree out in the middle of the wheat field. I like to go out there once in a great while and just sit and look all around at the field and the edges of the field and the houses and the trees. Um, we had neighbors there, but they were all like a quarter of a mile away because our field was pretty much between us and them. Anyway, this was one of my favorite places just to go and sit and be quiet under that old oak tree. And as I started to head out across the field, I'd only gotten about maybe 10 feet into the field when a voice said, "Go back." And I stopped. It's like, I looked around, there was nobody there. It wasn't, my dad yelling at me. He wasn't even home. There was absolutely nobody there. But I thought, maybe it's the voice of God. And I thought it would probably be a good idea to obey it, just in case. Well, anyway, I did obey. I turned around and went back. I did not go out to the old oak tree. And it turned out that the next day, my dad was in that field, just a few feet from where I'd been, just a little farther out in the field, and he discovered a nest of copperheads. If I had continued where I was going to walk, I would have probably stepped into that nest of copperheads. And they're quite poisonous, So, whoever that voice was, it was good that I listened and I heeded it. I've since learned that the voices of our angels, our guardian angels, can sometimes come to us like that. I don't really know if it was the voice of God or the voice of my guardian angel. I assumed at that point it was the voice of God, and I've thought that for most of my life, because it sounded like someone saying it who cared. It was sort of like full of love as well as warning at the same time. But I am told that guardian angels also speak to us that way. So if you hear a voice of warning and there's nobody around, I would say your best bet is to obey it and go along with it. You don't know the trouble that you might save yourself from. God is good and He's watching over us. And whether it's God or whether it's the angel that He's given us to watch and care over us, the words still would be coming from Him and His care and His love for us. So it's good to heed them. It's good to heed those words.